Hey everyone! Kate from Kate Loves Tarot. Right, you guys, listen. We need to talk. Something's been brewing in the pipeline and it sort of involves all of YouTube. And unfortunately, this is something that's just going to hit the YouTube tarot community as a whole. So basically, I'm going to have to explain Article 13, which is something that the European Union has brought out. Yeah, I'm going to explain what that is. Basically, it's a censorship machine tool for the European Union to use, and it's basically what I have to explain the background, okay, just to how we got to this stage. So, on normal platforms such as YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, memes and videos, especially videos without any audio, tend to get overlooked and not so much shadow banned or censored, which by the way really does go on with just imagery. Okay, so basically, because there was a lack of algorithms controlling those kind of imagery, a lot of memes with information on corrupt governments, corrupt MEPs, corrupt bureaucrats, governments, corrupt politicians. Okay, there was a lot of memes going around feeding a lot of most well-informed. It was very, very rare you'd sort of find fake news memes, but, you know, especially on Twitter and Facebook, but you do get the fake ones as well, but the majority of what I could see were well-informed memes, you know, and non-audio videos and stuff like that. But the algorithms couldn't pick them up to shadow ban them or censor them, okay? Or, you know, it had to be reported by the public for it to be removed, which it never really was. So what the EU did, the EU are absolutely corrupt to fuck. I'll say it now. Absolutely corrupt to fuck. And what they did was they introduced this Article 13. And people had till the 12th of September this year to send emails, to pester their MEPs, to members of the European Parliament, to pester their MPs and their government, and their own leaders from the 28 member states. People had the opportunity to really, really pester them, especially on Twitter and Facebook, and also by email, to get them to veto that article, okay? Before I tell you what the article actually does, let me tell you what the 28 member states, including the leaders of the European Union, did. They ignored the people. They ignored everybody, okay? There was a campaign called #SaveTheInternet. It's all over YouTube, it's all over Twitter, it's all over Facebook, okay? And they have their own website, you can go check it out. I think it's just called www.savetheinternet.com or something like that. And it was completely ignored, and this article got pushed through the European Parliament anyway. But it affects everybody worldwide, especially on YouTube. What this article does is it forces YouTube, Facebook, anywhere you post images or a video, it forces those websites, those key players such as YouTube, to completely blanket censor content that cannot be proven to be the owner of the videos. So let me break that down for the YouTube community. Everybody in the YouTube community uses tarot cards. Normally, these tarot cards are not created by the tarot reader. I'm not even supposed to mention names, but you guys all know who created the Romance Angel cards. Now, I think with the Rider-Waite, we can pretty much get away with that, because it's not like there's anybody's sort of name attached to those cards, you know, because there's that many different variations of it. But things like those Romance Angel cards, and in fact most Oracle cards, they're going to pose a massive, massive problem. And if I'm perfectly honest, even the Rider Waite could pose a massive problem. What they're basically gonna, and it's not YouTube's fault, it's the European Union. So what they're going to do is anybody within the EU, which includes the UK, because we are technically still a member state until, well, they say March of 2019, but we may not actually leave. In other words, we leave on paper, not in reality. I'll explain that in a moment. But for everybody in those 28 member states, we cannot access videos outside of the EU if there is any kind of copyright infringement, such as what I've mentioned. So if you're an avid tarot fan within the EU, and I don't know, your favourite tarot readers are anyone else on YouTube from the States, if they are using somebody else's tarot cards and they cannot prove they have the right to use those cards live on camera or recorded but posted on the internet, if they cannot prove it, you can't watch their videos. If you're a tarot reader within the within the EU, the same applies. You can post your videos to your heart's extent, but that does not mean that video is going to be passed. And if YouTube takes one look at those videos and says, well, how can they even gain that kind of permission to use those cards, you know, then your videos will be blocked. If you're outside of the EU, like I say, and you're a tarot reader outside of the EU, anybody in the EU, your videos will be blocked to them. You know, and the same applies if you're outside of the EU, such as my videos could be blocked, full stop. It's not just the tarot community, it's literally everybody on YouTube. YouTube could quite easily crash and burn out because of this. And it's all because of a blanket censorship, because they cannot control, up until now, what imagery people use on the internet. So now they're controlling that. And everybody who seems to think, even if you are in the UK and you're watching this, and everybody who seems to think that we are definitely leaving the EU on the 19th of March 2019, that's not true. Because we have a transmission period after that. And in the small print of any deal Theresa May accepts with the EU, the small print contains a term where the EU decides whether or not the UK is capable of going solo. Yep, the EU decides when they think we're ready. And it's an indefinite term of up to, but not exceeding, a century. We could still be in the EU, maybe not so much on paper, but in reality, for another 100 years. Yeah, I shit you not. The only way this can ever be broken for the UK is if Theresa May is pushed to do a no deal, which we are able to do. 2 years after Article 50 is triggered, if no deal is reached, we can leave with no deal, with no terms, and without paying any fees, such as the 39 billion that she wanted to give the EU. Just for the sake of it. There's no obligation to pay that money, but she was gonna anyway. But yeah, that's the only reason this sort of thing can be saved, is with a no deal, which doesn't look like it's going to happen. So YouTube are going to start blanket censoring everybody because of EU rules. Most people in the States, especially if you use you know, little, what are they called? Intro videos. Even if you paid for it. Use intro videos, if you use imagery, if you use someone else's cards. You know, if you advertise what cards you're using. Even if you've been okayed to do that by the owner of the cards, which for most of the tarot community I'm going to guess is very unlikely. Yeah, Europe won't be able to watch your videos anymore. And my videos, along with every other reader in the UK, their tarot readings could be blocked on YouTube as well because of that. I genuinely thought, because I did the same, I badgered MPs and stuff like that, and I genuinely thought, if enough, there were that much backing on YouTube, everybody was going at their MPs, their governments, their MEPs, and we all thought, great, hopefully this has made a difference. And no, it made not 1 ounce of difference. That article still got pushed through. The only saviour we've got now is there's negotiations going on at the moment regarding the article. The article's going to be put through anyway, but now there's negotiations. And the only thing that we can do now is to get back on the bandwagon to push MEPs and MPs and governments to negotiate better circumstances regarding that article. And I think that, you know, I mean, I wouldn't even know where to begin when it comes to those kind of negotiations, or, you know, even suggestions on it. You know, I suppose, yeah, okay, fair enough, if somebody else is using your content, fuck yeah, they should be fined, they should be blocked, they should be banned. But, you know, for those who are even sort of paid to do advertisements on their channel and stuff like that, I don't do anything like that, but others do. You know, they could, there's going to be a lot of court cases, there's going to be a lot of fines, there's going to be a lot of banning going on because of it. And it's not good. Article 13 could take down a massive chunk of the tarot community, especially if you're in the EU. Which is so unfortunate, isn't it? I'm not ready to give up. But it's gone through now, so there's not really a great deal I can do. And it's not just on YouTube. We're talking about the World Wide Web. I could go to Patreon. I could go to any other. I could just leave it at Facebook. It doesn't matter. Because we can't prove we've got the rights to be using somebody else's cards online, they'll get banned. Which is such a shame. It really is. But like I say, the only thing that I suppose we can do now is take to your YouTube channels. You've all got them. You might not post videos, but do one. And save your goddamn internet. Post a video. Have a rant at the EU. Tell them, you know, hey you motherfuckers, who the fuck do you think you are taking away our internet? You know, really have a go. Take to your Facebook. Take to your Twitter. Get on Twitter. Follow these MEPs. There's enough of them. If you just type MEP in the search bar, you're going to get a massive list of members of the European Parliament. And tell them, fair enough, it's gone through. But throw suggestions at them for better negotiating tools. Tell them you're not happy with it. If you're within the EU, ring up your local MEPs. Unfortunately, normal MPs don't really have much of a hold or a say. It's really the MEPs that you need to go for, because they're the ones that are going to represent you in the European Parliament. Because I don't think, yeah, a great deal of sort of say was done about this before September 12th, but I don't think enough was done. And maybe I should have done this video sooner, I don't know, and I suppose for that I apologise. I kind of sat on it and hoped for the best. It's something you can't imagine. And I will say this, and I'll probably get a lot of flack for it, but just lately, and I suppose I can say this on my channel because what the EU are doing does affect my YouTube channel. I might lose it. You know, and I'm not the only one. Many others could lose theirs as well. But I will say, just lately, the EU is starting to look way too much like the Fourth fucking Reich. Ugh. Talking about, you know, Merkel and Macron talking about needing a fucking EU army. An EU army! They pay a percentage of their GDP for NATO protection. They are some of the most protected countries in the world because of NATO. They want an army? It ain't for protection. Who do they want to attack? Because it ain't for protection. Luckily, we've got an MP called Gavin Williamson in the UK. He's the Minister of Defence. He's basically told the EU to shove their fucking army up their arse. Because he ain't having none of it. And thank God for that, man. But yeah, back on point. I'm just giving you an example of why I think the EU's turned into the Fourth Reich. Back on point. A shitload of YouTube channels could lose out. This thing's so widespread. If you actually do a search in the YouTube search bar, Article 13, you're going to see some big YouTube names giving you a lot more information about it than I have. I'm just explaining how I can see it affecting the tarot community on YouTube. And I know, you know, the tarot community on YouTube isn't always going to be perfect. I know there has been some ups and downs, you know. But what I can say is that every tarot reader on YouTube, or should I say the majority of tarot readers on YouTube, really love their subscribers, really love their clients. And I really love you lot. You are my subscribers, and you lot have stuck by me through thick and thin, and for that I appreciate. And for something so petulant and silly to come along that could just tear all that up, my heart goes out to the subscribers, but it also goes out to other readers on tarot readers on YouTube, because it is the most unfair thing in the world. A lot of US tarot readers are going to have a lot of UK clients, European clients, that they'll no longer be able to interact with. It basically means, oh no, we're going to have to take this completely private and do everything through email. Which is just not fair. It's not fair at all. Because there's no other platform on the internet that you can do this on. Every videoing platform on the internet, this Article 13 is literally for the World Wide Web within Europe. And it affects everybody beyond, because everybody beyond is going to lose a shitload of European clients. Or subscribers. That's what's going on. That's what I'm letting people know. So like I say, the only way to try and get better terms on this thing is take to your YouTube channels, take to your Facebook, your Twitter. And if you're a tarot reader watching this and you think, oh no, I'm safe, you fucking ain't. Even if you're outside the EU. If you respect your clients and your subscribers within the EU, you'll take to your channel, you'll take to your Twitter, you'll take to your Facebook. No one's safe. I don't know if I'm the first person to do this, because I really haven't been keeping up with anything on YouTube lately. As you guys know, I've got my own personal problems, but I just had to take a minute out just to put my spin on this, just in case it's not out. I think some might have already. I'd be very surprised if they haven't said something, because you're using somebody else's cards on YouTube. Article 13 is going to block it. So yeah, I'm going to leave that there. Disappointing, I know. And I'm really upset to learn that it's come to this. I've got a lot of who I would consider friends in the tarot community, you know, over in the States. And if I find I can't watch their videos anymore, I know I'm going to be heartbroken. I dread to think how their own subscribers are going to feel. So yeah, I'm going to leave that there. But get involved. Hashtag save the internet. Save your internet.